I truly believe that this opportunity is big and we are kind of in that blue ocean. And, I've been an entrepreneur many times and I can say this confidently, like you get what you give when you're building a business.
Hello, and welcome to the Perfect Franchise Podcast.
I'm Kris, and joining me is my wonderful co-host, Andrea.
In this podcast, we're on a mission to help you discover all that franchising has to offer.
We'll explore expert strategies, interview successful franchise owners, and give you the tools to make informed decisions.
So whether you're considering your options or you're ready to take that plunge, we're here to support you every step of the way.
So let's jump into today's episode. Hi, welcome to the TPF podcast. Today, Andrea and I are really excited to have Derek Shewmon with us. Derek is the co-founder of the franchise HOMEstretch. Derek, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks so much for having me today.
Yeah, that's great. So, Derek, kind of start us out a little bit. Tell our audience, what does HOMEstretch do, and how did you create this concept? How did this come about?
Yeah, so HOMEstretch is a one-stop shop cosmetic improvement company that helps homeowners and real estate agents prepare houses to list. So the services that we provide is we do junk removal, we do interior and exterior painting, we install flooring, we do landscape cleanup, and then we clean the house.
Okay. And so how did this come about? How did this company start?
So my co-founder and I, Nick Lober, in 2019 started the company. But prior to HOMEstretch, we worked for a company in Cincinnati called Everything But the House. And what they did is they helped people that were going through stressful life transitions like death, downsize, and divorce, monetize furniture and jewelry and artwork and kind of all the personal possessions in their house on an online auction platform. So while we were working there, we did a great job helping them sell their stuff. But time and time again, when we were wrapped up with the job, the client, who may be somebody whose mom passed away or they're moving somebody to assisted living, would kind of look around at the house and say, hey, you know anybody that could help us get rid of this wallpaper? Or man, the backyard has 6-foot weeds, or there's red shag carpet here. Do you know anyone who could help us get this house ready to sell? And after hearing that so many times, that light bulb went off in our head and we were like, man, there is a huge need for that one-stop shop white glove service to really help people that are in this stressful situation get their biggest asset in the best condition possible. So when it hits the market, it sells quickly and it sells for the most money possible. That's where HOMEstretch was kind of born out of.
So you mentioned at the start that you're marketing both realtors and homeowners. What's the split there? Is it, when you think of your client base, percentage-wise, how many of them are realtors compared to the end user, the homeowner?
Yeah, we obviously have two clients. So the homeowner is the person that pays for our services, but our sales engine, our marketing strategy is almost entirely focused on real estate agents. So we take a little bit different of a track here. We don't market ourselves directly to consumers. We don't spend heavily on Google ads or social media, just because the home preparation space is something that we created out of thin air 6 years ago. So there's not a lot of consumer education around, all right, like I'm getting my house ready to sell, I'm going to Google a home preparation company. We hope to change that over the next couple of years, but right now it's more efficient for us to build deep relationships with real estate agents, make us their trusted partner, because they're kind of in this situation where without HOMEstretch, they have to figure out, all right, I got to find a painter, I got to find a landscaper, I got to find a cleaner, I have to manage all these people. Traditionally, blue collar workers aren't the most reliable folks. So real estate agents don't particularly like having to be a general contractor, and that's not why they became real estate agents. So when we get with them and they see how quickly we move and the professionalism that we bring and how communicative we are, we became a trusted partner in their tool belt. So when we build those relationships, it kind of serves as an annuity for HOMEstretch, where one realtor relationship can spawn, tens, hundreds of referrals over its lifetime.
Yeah. And so, Derek, I sold a house a year and a half ago, and we had to go through this where we needed sort of new countertops. We needed, potentially a new window, paint. We wanted the outside done. And it was a back and forth with that real estate agent. Like, who do you have? Who should we hire? How do we get this quickly so we can get it on the market? And sounds like that's kind of where you come in. It's not sort of I'm going to go in and knock down walls and start over. It's how do I cosmetically update this? And then is there competition in this space, or just the real estate agent is really doing most of this management typically?
Yeah, I think you hit it exactly right. So we don't pull permits. We're not knocking down walls. We don't replace roofs. We really have found the sweet spot on the cosmetic improvements that you need to get your house looking as good as possible, and also kind of balancing the amount of money that people want to spend when they're moving. Because it's really hard to convince somebody, hey, let's remodel your kitchen. Let's drop $100,000 on this kitchen. And oh, yeah, you don't get to enjoy it because you're selling your house. Like, that's obviously a pretty tough sell.
It's
But
hard.
when you approach somebody and you say, hey, for $10,000 or $15,000, we can paint all your walls, we can redo the flooring, your house is going to look amazing, and you're going to get that return on investment back to you. So that's the nice sweet spot that we have, which also allows us to go, service jobs very quickly. And in real estate, speed is the name of the game. Like, we're typically in and out of our houses at max within 2 weeks. Whereas, if you're doing a remodel, that can take months and months, and time kills deals. In terms of the competitors, we have a blue ocean here. Like, we created this home preparation space kind of out of thin air, and we're pioneering it. So we do have a lot of competitors, as you can imagine, though, but those are mostly local painting companies, local flooring companies. Like, they're formidable because they can be cheaper than us, and they typically have, long lasting relationships. There's also been a couple companies that have tried to do more of a platform approach, where they had built a platform to try to connect real estate agents to vendors in additional areas, but they didn't have people on the ground actually doing the work, which is where HOMEstretch kind of separates ourselves from them.
Okay.
So you're more the project manager, though. That's different than a local painter or a local flooring company. Either you're the homeowner or the real estate agent has to manage like all those different people. You're kind of that one-stop shop, right?
We take the stress out of the equation. So instead of having to manage all those folks, or having the real estate agent, or in your situation, if you had to do it yourself, like, that's just a miserable experience, especially when you're stressed out, you're trying to figure out, where am I moving? Like, that's the last thing you want to do, is wait for the painter to show up. So with HOMEstretch, it's just one call. We handle the rest.
Okay. So, Derek, let's talk about marketing for a minute. So if I'm a franchisee of HOMEstretch, I need to market to realtors. So 2 questions. How do I do that as a franchisee? And 2, what, if anything, does HOMEstretch do to help me do that?
Yeah, so it's kind of an old school approach that we've created, but we like it because we think it allows us to create a deep moat around our business. Because when you start building these relationships with real estate agents and you're their go-to person, if a copycat comes along in a couple of years, why would they switch? Whereas if our business model were predicated on spending a lot of money on Google and we're trying to get consumer-based leads, we could easily get outspended by a copycat competitor. Maybe Google changes its algorithm. Maybe everyone stops using Google and uses ChatGPT. So that's always been a risk that we wanted to avoid with our business model. So this is a roll up your sleeves and kind of pound the pavement business strategy. It's a little harder, takes a little bit more time, but when you do it, we kind of view HOMEstretch as similar to like a financial planner. The goal is just to add 1 or 2 real estate agents that love you to your portfolio in a month, and you'll wake up in a year or 2 years from now and have 30, 40 agents that love HOMEstretch and refer you business. And that's when the business really gets exciting. So the main way we do that is we call agents on the phone. They're very social people. They love talking on the phone. They pick up all the time, which is great for us. We do office presentations. Typically, every real estate brokerage has a weekly meeting that you can come and attend and pitch a whole cohort of agents. And that's what we train all of our franchisees on how to do. So a lot of our time is spent on training them on how to talk to agents, making sure they have the confidence to do that. We have a lot of investments in tools and technologies to really get them up to the task. But that's what's different from HOMEstretch and a lot of opportunities out there. This isn't just to spend a bunch of money on marketing and kind of sit back and wait for the leads to come in.
So then tell me a little bit about that ideal franchisee. They have to have a background in sales. It seems like a little bit like a very salesy pitch to them, right? Like B2B sales.
That helps. I mean, I'm not a natural salesperson. So if I know that about myself and I know what my strengths and weaknesses are, you just need to have your eyes open and hire your counterpart. So there's 2 core parts of HOMEstretch. You have your sales side, you have your operations side. Usually every business owner is more comfortable in one area than the other. If the business owner is a great operator, then they'll hire their counterpart in sales. If they're great at sales, you can get your counterpart in operations. So there's a lot of flexibility with that. What makes a good owner for us, I mean, there's a couple criteria that we always look for. One, we're looking for somebody that wants to have deep ties into the community. I think what's unique about HOMEstretch is you're really helping people in stressful situations. You're getting deep into the community to build these relationships with real estate agents and get your, roots in neighborhoods. Two, they want to help people. And I think that's a happy byproduct about our business is like when you're dealing with people that just lost a loved one, or maybe they're relocating because they lost their job, they're stressed out. And when we come to the table, like the last thing they want to do is deal with contractors because of all the negative connotations out there. But when HOMEstretch shows up and we show up on time and we do what we say we're going to do, and we kind of take all that stress off their plate, you can just see the tension melt from their faces. And it truly does make a difference in their lives. And then three, and probably most importantly to me, like we're looking for empire builders. And I think that's what's different from HOMEstretch from other opportunities out there, is that the need for this is so big and the demand is there that if you get the right person that truly wants to build a multi-million-dollar business that can be big and last decades, this is the opportunity for you. And that takes a specific person and the right mindset to get that person in the door.
Yeah. So Derek, you kind of walked right into my next question here, because the homeowners don't want to deal with contractors. The realtors don't want to deal with contractors. That means me, the HOMEstretch franchisee, is dealing with contractors. So talk to me about my labor force as a franchisee. Are they subcontractors? Are they employees? Is it a mix? And also, how does HOMEstretch train and support me to acquire the right contractors, right? Because it's all about the people you work with. And so talk to me about that.
It's a mix. So especially in the early phases, year one, which is that critical year, we don't want our franchisees necessarily to hire up on the labor side. It's more efficient and it keeps fixed costs down to use subcontractors. But then as your business grows and matures, it does make financial sense and strategic sense to start onboarding specific people that can do the labor. So we have a partnership with Sherwin-Williams on the national level that does all of our flooring installation on our behalf. So that takes a huge bulk of our services kind of off of the franchisee's plate, and they kind of walk into that great partnership. And then it really boils down to painters. And we have a tried and true vetting process that we've learned over 6 years and many, many mistakes, that we help our franchisees kind of find the right painters that meet HOMEstretch's standards and understand what we're trying to accomplish. We have a partnership with a great company called People Ready, which does on-demand temporary ad hoc labor. So you can get individuals at an hourly rate to do junk removal, landscaping, cleaning, some of the more general labor tasks. So between all of that, we have the operations side figured out. And when we're kind of looking at the business, the sales side is always the one that we kind of push the emphasis on. Like nothing really happens until you get the sales engine going. We have all the processes, all the partnerships, all the platforms in place to really scale the operations side, but sales is kind of the name of the game for HOMEstretch.
So Derek, tell me a little bit, who's paying it and when are you getting paid on this? Is it the real estate agent is coordinating with you? Is it not until the house sells? Like, how does this all work from that standpoint?
It's both. It's a mix. So we want to have solutions that meet our clients' needs. So the traditional model is you would take 50% upfront and 50% upon completion, which works for, a lot of people. But there are people that just don't have the liquidity or the means to pay that much money upfront. So we have innovative partnerships with financing partners, one of which is called Notable, that does a pay at close program. So if our clients qualify for Notable, they won't pay until their house sells. So part of what we're always trying to do is separate ourselves from our competitors. When we're kind of looking at the mom and pop landscape out there and the local painters and landscaping companies, we know that they're not offering pay at close options. So that's where we're going to invest our resources to kind of make HOMEstretch even more of a no-brainer for sellers.
Really great. And can I tie one more question off of that? So what are the real estate agents thinking? Like that to me seems like a big thing. If they're telling them, you got to do all this stuff that we're going to get more money if we can paint, we can do landscaping. But if someone says, I don't have the money. Does this go over well with real estate agents, or they say, I have my guy that does painting, I don't really want to use?
I think once they experience it, it's one of those things where, we're working with real estate agents that have been in the game for 20, 30 years, and they're very successful. And obviously they have their own processes. They have their own painter. They have their own flooring person. But one of two things is happening. Either they're managing it themselves, which they hate and they don't get paid to do, and that's kind of the biggest pain point they have, or they're telling the client, hey, here's a couple painters and flooring people, you guys deal with it, which is a bad client experience. So trying to get them to change their ways can be a challenge, especially somebody who's very successful and is like, well, I've been doing it this way forever. Why would I need to change? But
Yeah.
once we get them into the process and see how efficient we are and how we take all of that stress off their plate and how we save them so much time where they don't have to manage this anymore, they're hooked. So it's just kind of getting that first swing and making sure we capitalize on it that really, gets the ball rolling.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Derek, what kind of franchisees are you looking for? Do they have to be full-time owner operators? Can they be semi-absentee and keep a job and hire a manager to run things? What are their options here?
For us, I truly believe that this opportunity is big and we are kind of in that blue ocean. And, I've been an entrepreneur many times, and I can say this confidently, like, you get what you give when you're building a business. And if you really want to build a large business that's multi-generational, is millions of dollars in size, you have to be all in. So I think it always comes back to, like, what is the person's objective when they're trying to be semi-absentee? If they're looking for side income or a side hustle, like, there's many great opportunities for that. HOMEstretch is not one of those. Like, this is an opportunity for somebody that wants to create an empire. And those are the type of people that we're looking for. So for us specifically, semi-absentees is not something that we're looking for.
Yeah,
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. So Derek, before we sort of, wrap up here, I want to ask you just one question, and it's one we like to ask everybody. And so put sort of HOMEstretch on the backside. So talk to sort of a lot of clients that are looking at our podcast or people that are just going through this now. So what's one piece of advice you would give somebody as they're really exploring franchising? And it doesn't have to be about HOMEstretch, just in general.
When I kind of look back and, I've started 2 businesses now, the thing that always kind of circles back to me that I'm glad I put some thought into is, what are you passionate about? Like, what is going to make you wake up each and every day and be like, I'm excited to go to work and I'm excited to put all of my energy and my thought into this one thing. And people have a variety of passions. Like, I love HOMEstretch not because I'm good at design. I'm terrible at design, kind of colorblind. I don't particularly love real estate, but I love the complexity of the business. I love that you can build something large and incredible with this business. So whatever you're looking to do, franchise related or starting a business or whatever, make sure that passion is checked, because without that passion, starting a business is incredibly hard, even if you have the support of a franchise. And you have to have something beyond financial gain that's pushing you forward. So truly think about, like, what gets you excited. And I think that's always a great starting point.
Yeah, that's really great. I love that. And we tell people all the time that passion versus fit. And I think you hit the nail on the head. You can be passionate about business ownership and aspects of it and not necessarily the widget of what they do. And that still will help you grow a really big business. So thank you so much for that. So Derek, this has been really great. I think, one of the good things about HOMEstretch and why I like it when I show it to clients is sort of, it works in lots of different markets, right? A downturn market, an upturn market where people are trying to figure out, how do I, in a competitive market, get up against somebody else? Or how do I get this house a little bit better so it sells quicker? So just depending on the market, it's really great. And I think the ability to come in and sort of project manage this and really do it end to end is really what's unique about your business. So thank you so much for coming in today and talking to us about HOMEstretch. We appreciate it. So if you're thinking about franchising, remember that while there's no one size fits all, the perfect franchise for you is definitely out there. To explore your options, visit theperfectfranchise.com and click on Let's Talk to schedule a call with a consultant on the Perfect Franchise team. We look forward to connecting with you again on our next episode.